assertively takes the lane. Sometimes you have to. I'm not against it. I'm against doing it all the time when you don't need to. Blocking traffic, pissing drivers off. I got the speed, I got the lane. Gravity drive has been engaged. I'm constantly checking my mirror because I'm taking the lane. Don't feel like getting plowed. Stupid mirror is not quite adjusted correctly. I easily see what's going on, and it's key to survival. Knowing what's going on behind you. Because I don't want a car behind me. I really don't. In front of me, you can't run me over being dumb. Behind me, dumbness could lead to me being underneath the car, which is a no-go. What's a quiet moment? Where is it that it comes from, this take the lane mentality? I am old enough to remember a time when they actually recommended that you ride against traffic. And when I showed up in the trailer for driver's education in the mid-70s, they still had video in that trailer telling me to expect cyclists over there and recommending that cyclists do that, which is ridiculous. So I remember a time when the authorities gave you ridiculous advice, and as soon as you did it out in the real world, you learned maybe you should just go with traffic. So at least it's not going to be a head-on collision. So wow, dude, there's a lane over there. I see tonight. You too. Careful. Hello. Riding in traffic with cars. It's a difficult thing to do. I'm here in my son's room with all of his bicycles. And he does a lot of biking. And because my son is riding so much, and some of it is in traffic, I feel like I really have to weigh in on this lane position debate. I mean, I have a little bit already weighed in on it, and I really disagree with this we have to take the lane all the time idea, especially when the law in California is saying you need to ride to the right as far as is practicable and safe. So, you know, that's an opinion, it's a gray area for sure. Nonetheless, it's not saying take the lane constantly. And taking the lane all the time is dangerous, and it's provocative and makes drivers hate cyclists, and there's the potential that bicycles just be made illegal on the street. And I don't want to see that. I ride my bike all the time. All the time. It is my commuter vehicle. But because my son here, he's riding in traffic and stuff, he's asking me questions about lane position. And he's working as a bicycle mechanic, and that means he's getting some advice about taking the lane that I really don't agree with. And so I've been talking to him, trying to school him, because I don't want my son to die in traffic. I mean, that is potentially what can happen with this dangerous advice to take the lane. Take the lane all the time. That's what we hear, take the lane. And I'm not against taking the lane. It's that don't take it all the time, and don't slow traffic, and doing it in rush hour, oh, dangerous and provocative. So here I am, and I've been putting up some videos about lane position as well as, techniques to keep from getting run over. But now with my sons, both of them now commuting on their bicycles occasionally, and they're in traffic, as well as people dying. I keep hearing about people dying. I just recently read a post on a Facebook page related to bicycling where this person they just give up riding in traffic, and they're talking about how dangerous it is. And then people are getting on this thread and talking about taking the lane and all of this, which I just think is nonsense, really. It's dangerous as hell. You're taking the lane when cars are going 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. But how did we get here? How did it become so heated? Well, been riding for a really long time. I actually date back to the time when there was no cycling infrastructure at all. I even date back to the time when they were telling us to ride against traffic. I did that once, maybe twice, and I was done. I wasn't going to do that anymore because it's dangerous. And I didn't care what the law was or what the advice was. I was going to do what was safe and keep me from out from underneath cars. So I'm actually used to getting bad advice from the alleged experts. Now, how did we get into this situation where taking the lane has become such a heated debate? Well, if you go back to the days when there was no cycling infrastructure at all, that was part of the civil disobedience of trying to force some kind of cycling infrastructure onto United States roads. And you would take the lane when you'd enter areas where there was just no painted line, no bike lane, nothing. And it was part of its, activism to take the lane and ask basically for some cycling infrastructure. Just paint a line on the street so that I have a spot on the tarmac. And, cars aren't telling me to get on the sidewalk because there's a lane there, so obviously I'm allowed to ride in it. And there was this guy, Richard Ballantyne, in the late 60s, early 70s. He wrote this, he was a cycling activist, and he wrote a book about bicycles belong in traffic, which I actually agree with. Bicycles do belong in traffic. But taking the lane all the time, dangerous, but it did start to get some attention to cycling infrastructure, and I actually participated in this kind of civil disobedience. I did it. And so I understand kind of how we got here. But once you see all of this cycling infrastructure being built, and there is a lot, for someone who's been riding for more than 30 years, there is a lot of cycling infrastructure that did not exist 30 years ago. So if there's a lane, I'm going to take the lane. And after 30 years of this, it's really where drivers expect you to be, a little over to the right, in the right-hand side of the right lane. Not in the gutter, I'm not advocating the gutter, but over to the right. And that is the safest spot, really. There's all this talk about being seen, and it just doesn't matter. If they see me and run me over, it didn't help me. It didn't help me. And that is what's happening out there. People are really dying out there. We have cycling infrastructure. You want to engage in some civil disobedience and take the lane when there's no cycling infrastructure at all? Okay, that's fine. I understand that. I actually did it in my youth. But to advocate it and to tell other people to do it and tell them that that's the safe thing to do, that is not true. It is not the safe thing to do. You are taking risks by taking the lane. Unless there's no shoulder at all that you could ride on, then of course, yeah, you got to take the lane. Because it's unsafe. And you have to make that judgment. That's true. But to just advocate, take the lane all the time, bad idea. Very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. So, I have to come out here because people are dying. My sons are riding in traffic. And alleged experts are saying that you should ride in the middle of the lane. No. I'm riding in the land of cars. In California, 40 million people, probably more cars than that. Whoa. You shouldn't be riding in the middle of the lane most of the time, right? Most of the time. That is the thing about cycling, and as one of the things, there are no hard and fast rules, really. The traffic laws don't really deal with human-powered vehicles very well. And I think that this bicycle commuting it's magical. A bicycle is a magical vehicle. I believe in it. I don't want to see it made illegal, and I really am pained when I see people dying. And I do see people die on TV, and I've actually ridden by accidents where the person didn't survive. It's terrible. I don't want to get hit, and I certainly don't want my sons to get hit. So I am going to come out here and I'm going to talk about techniques to keep from getting run over. And that is not taking the lane unless there's no other way to get down that road. And if you take the lane just because you want to and you think you can, you are endangering all the cyclists that come next, because you are making drivers hate bicycles. And you are going to begin to see laws being made that make bicycling on, major roads just made illegal. That's what's going to happen. So I've not been out and advocating this as much as I should, in my opinion, because I get so much heat, and I'm not making any money off of this. I just get so much heat when and it doesn't matter what these alleged experts say to me. 30 years, 100,000 miles. Okay, I did all the calculations because I got a ticket from Officer Friendly for a thing I did that actually was illegal, and he wrote me a ticket for it. But it was the safe thing to do, and I ended up getting that dismissed. But in any case, in preparation for that case, I started to look at how much I had been riding in traffic and do some research. And then basically I went through my whole career, because I've basically been commuting on my bicycle my entire career as a software engineer, and got letters from people who had worked with me over the years. And yes, he did ride his bike most of the time. And then it was a simple calculation of address of the employer, address of where I lived, all public record things, right? Then you look at the distance and you double that, because every day is a round trip. Boom, I'm real close to 100,000 miles. I'm going to call myself an expert, Your Honor. 100,000 miles, and I'm not dead. That's what I'm here to tell you people, okay? Riding in traffic with cars, in the land of cars, for 30 years, 100,000 miles, not dead. Why? Because of these techniques. So, a lot of people are out there advocating for taking the lane, and I've had some debates with them, and occasionally they reveal the true nature of this advice that they're giving. I had one guy tell me that it's a constitutional right to take the lane. That was just crazy, right? But what I'm really hearing is a lot of hatred of cars and a desire to make cars illegal. I hear that. It's political activism, which is fine, but you shouldn't be out there with your political activism giving bad advice, and people are going to die with that advice. So, riding in traffic with cars, not against them, with cars, is going to start taking on this lane position debate. Following my little spiel here, I'll give you a technique, an important technique, of which basically you can kind of let cars go by and then you get behind them. Because this is a real tenet of survival. A car in front of you can't kill you. A car behind you can kill you. It's really simple. I'm not going to put myself in the front of a 2-ton death machine. Right? I mean, come on. This political activism is fine. Advising people to ride in traffic so that it's so stressful, it causes people to hate cyclists, and causing people to die, because that's what's happening. Cycling deaths are going way up. Why is that? Oh, more people are riding. No, I think it's just really bad advice that's being given. It's really bad. Take the lane all the time? No. Dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. No, don't do it. Here's a technique that'll help you survive.
Because I don't want a car behind me. I really don't. In front of me, he can't run me over being dumb. Behind me, dumbness could lead to me being underneath the car, which is a no good. So, case could be made to myself for holding this lane. Because I've been closely passed here and like side-swiped off my bike. In front of a policeman, actually. Who did nothing. But you see, I don't feel it's that unsafe riding on the right compared to being in the middle of the lane and putting your life in the hands of whether or not they're paying attention. Cars. So I might just get in the crosswalk and let them go by before the pinch point up there. Because I don't want cars behind me. Even though I could take this lane, I'm not going to take the lane. I'm going to get out of the line of traffic. Hope everyone passes me and I got the lane to myself. So no hurry to get across. Because I do want as many as I can to go by. Push the button, made it go faster. Cars should be happy. I get in front of them, they get annoyed. I'm going to hang out. Because there you go, 4 cars. I want them to go by before I join in this lane. So legitimately, right? Only 4 cars behind me could have lined up in front, got there first and all that. Right? The cars aren't the same as human-powered vehicles. Rules have to be different. Have to be different. I can see in my mirror there is a giant bus behind me, and so I am taking the lane because I don't want this bus squeezing me off the road. So I took that lane because I saw him in my mirror. So yes, I take the lane sometimes. I'm doing it right now. As I'm chatting, I'm not looking in my mirror. It's always dangerous to not know what the hell is going on around you when you're on a bicycle in traffic with cars. Big truck, he'll go around me. I just don't want to get forced over into the gutter. I don't need to take more than this part of the lane though. Right? I don't need to take more. Goodness. It's horrible right here. Fixing the path. Goodness. A lot of traffic. These people are still living under the bridge. Nice. It didn't stop it from passing me very closely, did it? In front of me, you can't run me over being dumb. Behind me, dumbness could lead to me being underneath the car, which is a no-go.